Mike in Fairfax, Virginia. Hey, Mike, what's on your mind?
Hey, I wanted to help you guys get college ID so college kids can go vote.
Okay.
I think what we need to do is get Jay Johnson and Barack Obama to give every university access to the NICS database, just like you have to do for a gun permit. You pass your federal background check, prove that you're a citizen of the state you're voting in, and that you're a U.S. citizen, and then we can color code the college IDs. Green if you can vote in that state, no felonies, and you're a citizen. Yellow if you're good to vote, just not in the state you're attending university, and red if you're an illegal or have a felony arrest. And then a college ID would have the same merit as a gun ID, because if you guys continue to compare them as apples and apples, it is the most intellectually dishonest argument I've ever heard.
Because
of the credentials you have to prove to get a gun permit in the state. Any idiot can go register at a community college, be illegal, have a felony background, be from out of state, and get an ID.
Right. Do you have to prove your citizenship in order to get a gun permit?
You do.
You're sure of that?
I had to show in the state of Virginia, and I've read a little bit about Texas. In some places, you have to be fingerprinted and photographed, and you definitely have to go give your Social Security number, your NICS,
right.
They do a NICS check on you.
Right.
If you want to make the universities take on that burden so that the voting ID has the same authority as a firearm permit, I would support it.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
here's the thing, Mike.
An idiot in the polling.
Here's the thing that you're completely missing. You know, in promoting this Republican meme, there's virtually nobody in the United States who has any interest in committing a felony to cast one vote for anybody for president or senate or anything else. Whether it's, and in fact, when you look at the so-called illegal voters, the voter fraud, you know, the 32 cases that were prosecuted last year, virtually all of them were either felons who were in a state where, which is half our states, we're in a state where felons can't vote, and they didn't know that, or they were people who basically screwed up. Mostly it was people voting on behalf of their spouse or on behalf of an elderly parent or a child, and which is illegal, and they shouldn't have done it.
Okay.
But
that's a different problem.
No. But Mike, wait a second, Mike. You are suggesting you're saying if you want the colleges to take on that burden, you're suggesting that we need a solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
Well, then you shouldn't suggest that the two IDs are on equal footing, because the bar to get over one is much higher than the
Mike,
bar
when
to
I
get
registered to vote when I was 18 years old in Lansing, Michigan, I showed up with a copy of my electric bill and my driver's license. And to get my driver's license, I never had to prove my citizenship. People are not... There is no problem of people who are not citizens voting in the United States. It does not happen. Nobody is stupid enough to risk going to jail for years just to vote. Who would want to do that, Mike?
How many felons and illegals have electric bills?
What does it matter?
Well, you're using that as some high bar to get over.
No, I'm not using it as a high bar. What I'm saying is nobody's interested in jumping over the bar. Mike, you have bought into a storyline that is a lie. You are perpetuating this Republican strategy. It's frankly a strategy to prevent people from voting. And if you had not been a member of the Lucky Sperm Club and been born with white skin, if instead you were born with black skin in this country, you would be the one that they're trying to keep from voting. Or if you had been born into a profoundly poor family, or in a very poor part of the country, you would be the one that they're trying to prevent voting. And this whole Republican thing about so-called voter fraud is a lie. It's a lie that you have been suckered into, obviously. Nobody is interested in risking 5 years in jail to cast a vote. Nobody. You can't find anybody in this country who would do that. You can't pay people to do that.
You know how I know that there's more to it than what you're alluding to? Because the amount of time you guys devote to talking about it and pissing and moaning about it, it must get under your skin, and it must have an impact. Because otherwise, why are you so worried about it?
Mike.
Why are you so worried about something that has no consequence?
That is probably the least... How can... That's not even an argument. What you're saying? I know that it must be true that people who are not citizens are voting because you're saying that nobody who's a citizen is voting. I mean, you really want to go down that rabbit hole, Mike?
Yeah, let me ask
I'm telling you, you are a complete sucker, Mike. You have been sucked in by this. And you're promoting the idea that people who are poor, people who are older, people who are college students should not be allowed to vote. And of course, we get it. The billionaire class doesn't want those people to vote. And the Republican Party is owned by the billionaire class. And they've got their well-paid shills who are out there saying, oh my God, we got to do something about these brown people voting. And then they get the suckers like you who call in and go, oh yeah, it must be something really serious here. Or otherwise, why would you be so upset? I'm so upset because people are being disenfranchised. If you believe in democracy, Mike, if you believe in the United States of America, you should want everybody who's eligible to vote.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-536-2370.
I'm upset about it because I think it's fundamentally not only dishonest, but fundamentally anti-American, un-American. This is treasonous.